Hey, welcome to the Kingdom Corner. I'm Andrew, and with me, as always, is the man who can't help himself but try to be more and more like me every single day. You can get yourself one of these awesome hoodies too if you so desire. But
That's right.
with me, as always, is the man himself, the legend, the guy who everybody wishes they could be,
Oh man, I don't know about
Mr. Dale Baker. How we doing?
that. You're too kind. You're too kind, Andrew. I'm doing good. On this Super Bowl week, there's only one NFL game determine the
Right.
champion, and the Chiefs are here playing. So that's pretty fantastic.
Man, that is. So we want to remind you right up front here, though.
Yeah.
Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a review for us on this podcast so that others can hear it and see all the information we got to. But we also have another big announcement for this episode, Dale. We
Yeah.
have a giveaway. I
All right. I
mean,
love giveaways.
who doesn't love giveaways? And for this giveaway, we're going back to one of the classics. Maybe not too far back of a retro, so to speak, but
No.
our man, Mr. Trent Green, a guy who
Oh
was a
man.
Pro Bowl quarterback for the Chiefs, who was a great quarterback uh, with Dick Vermeil and Priest
Yeah.
Holmes and Larry Johnson and Tony Gonzalez. I mean, what a dynamic offense they had there. So here's what we got. I'll hold it up for you if you're watching on video. But we have this stitched, signed Trent Green jersey. Hopefully you can
Oh
see that. Oh,
man.
snap. Man, it
Yes.
is authenticated. It is the real deal. Here, I'll unfold it a little bit for those watching so you can see it too. Oh,
Oh.
oh.
There it is.
There it is. There it is.
Trickery number
We, we
10.
we'd get there. We'd get there eventually. We knew that.
Oh
So,
yeah.
all right, but that's what it is. So we have a signed an authenticated Trent Green jersey to give away. So what you have to do to be entered to win this is a couple of things here. So it's going to be on our social media on X,
Yeah.
or formerly known as Twitter, and probably Facebook as well. But there's only going to be one winner between both of those. So, but you could get double entry, I guess, if you do it on both.
Yeah.
But find the post that this is going to be on. You need to like that post. You need to comment on that post. You need to repost or share that post, and you also have to be following us
Yeah.
on Twitter, X, or Facebook. So I know that's a lot of steps, but we feel like this is a good giveaway. So there's more steps that are going to be required. So just make sure you're following us, and then like, comment, and share. So all the normal stuff. So do that, and you'll be entered to win this. A great prize here. So today, Dale, we got lots of stuff to go over. We're going to be breaking down the Super Bowl game against the
Oof.
49ers coming up in just a few short days here at the end of this week.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about some questions like, who is the most underrated player on the Chiefs team or even the defense?
Yeah.
Who might be the most likely non-quarterback to win the Super Bowl MVP? And who would this win mean the most for? Which player
Man.
for either team? So, and also we're breaking down the 49ers too, and what they do good and maybe what they don't do is get it as good. Lots of things. So stick with us and come hang out with us in this episode.
Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelce. Touchdown! Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions.
How about those Chiefs?
All right, Dale. So first question we got to ask here. Question right on top of the board.
Yeah.
So we even talked about this in the last episode a little bit, is that maybe we've even not given the defense all the credit that it deserves.
That's
Right.
yeah. That's definitely true.
So the defense has carried the Chiefs for most of the season, maybe all the season, who knows, but definitely one of the best ones that we've seen in the Mahomes era for sure.
Uh-huh.
So who is the most underrated player on the Chiefs defense?
Man, I think there's several ones. The one that jumps out to mind would be number one would be Nick Bolton. A lot of people don't talk about Nick Bolton, even though he's the kind of quarterback of the defense. But one guy that I am maybe a little partial to is number 51.
All
And
right, Mr. Mike
he,
Dana.
man, Dana, he is. If you watch him, I'd encourage you either just go back and watch film this year or watch him in the Super Bowl. just watch how hard that guy works. And he may not get all the credit, but he makes a lot of plays that kind of change the game or push guys to Karlaftis or Chris Jones. And so he definitely is one of the most underrated players on the defense, I would say, by far.
Yeah, good option. I'm gonna go with a guy that when he came to the Chiefs, it was a big deal. It was a big signing.
Yeah.
Maybe even his first year with the Chiefs, or maybe half a year, however long it was.
Right.
He got a lot of publicity, a lot of talk about him, but he has got almost no talk about him this year. That is our safety, Justin Reed.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, he's playing lights out. He is locking people up. He is the leader in that backfield, telling people where they need to be at. Spags has him all over. Sometimes he has him lined up in the linebacker position, blitzing the quarterback. I mean, plays him in the slot and on wide receivers, even the number one guys. I mean, he literally is a gadget player all over the field. And I would say Justin Reed is a guy to watch for, and especially in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely a good one. I mean, he locked up Lamar Jackson there once and got a sack. And I mean, Lamar Jackson, we all know, we've seen him. I mean, he makes corners, he makes safeties look silly. And those are supposed to be the speed guys. And so, for Justin Reed, he's had a great year, underrated year for sure. So that's a great pick too.
Yeah. All right.
But
so
in Spags we trust. In Spags we trust, right?
That's right. That's right.
That's
you see those? You see those T-shirts they were all wearing?
Yeah, T-shirts all going around, and just like this podcast, we never had a doubt. Even though some people were calling for his job, we never would ever call for Spags' job. We knew all along that Spags was the guy.
One of us did for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you this though. Did you know that since this podcast has started, the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl every year?
Okay, well, this is only the second year, but yes,
but it's still stands true.
That is
every
very
year
true.
This podcast has been in existence, the Chiefs have made the Super Bowl. So
that's right.
Basically, if the Chiefs win, this is going to become the most popular podcast, I'm sure, in all of Chiefs Kingdom.
If they don't go to the Super Bowl, do we have to retire?
Oh no.
Okay, all right. That's good.
No, the people love us too much, Dave. All right, maybe not. Maybe I'm blowing a little smoke there, but so one cool thing to take note of is Patrick Mahomes has the opportunity in this game to set the all-time record for the Chiefs in passing yards.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's just incredible, right? So in his 6th year as the Chiefs starter, and he is only 83 yards away from breaking Lynn Dawson's record for all-time passing yards. So currently he sits at just a little bit under 28,500 yards, and he needs just a little bit more than that to pass Lynn Dawson. So just 83 more yards, and he will be the all-time leader in Chiefs passing yards.
My goodness. Do you know how long Lynn Dawson played for the Kansas City Chiefs?
That is a great question, and one I should probably know.
19 seasons.
19.
So think about that.
Right.
So, I mean, I know it was a different game back there in the 60s, but still to say that, Mahomes has played 6, and Lenny, who we love, brought us the Super Bowl. He played 19 seasons. So, man, Mahomes could crush. Man, that's pretty impressive.
It is. So, Mahomes is moving up on all the boards for all the records for not just the Chiefs, but for the NFL in general. So, speaking of quarterbacks, so who is the most likely, in your opinion, non-quarterback to win the Super Bowl MVP? So you can give me one for each team.
Oh, one for each team. So the NFL sent me the script, and so
that's right. That's right. We all know it's rigged, and that.
Yeah,
I'll tell you this: if it's rigged, the NFL is doing an awful job of helping the Chiefs win. That's
right.
All I know.
There you go. And I mean, like, to think that it's rigged. I mean, think about how many people would have to be involved for it to be rigged. And then think about all the people would have to keep their mouth shut about it being rigged. I mean, it's just incredible. But anyway, so I think like Travis Kelce has a high chance of winning the MVP. And I think people would lose their minds just because of, all the commercials he was in with the drama with him and Taylor, not drama, but like him and Taylor Swift's relationship. And so they would just think that would be even more proof that was rigged. But Travis Kelce go out there and have, 3 touchdowns, 150 yards, and how could you not give it to that guy, right?
Yeah.
So, but as we know, a lot of times it's a quarterback trophy or award, and the quarterback grabs it. So,
That's true.
On the other side, if the Chiefs end up losing, I think the most likely candidate would be Christian McCaffrey grabbing that MVP.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you there.
Yeah.
I would throw out another name for the Chiefs too.
Okay.
I would throw out Isaiah Pacheco.
Oh man, there you
Isaiah
go.
Pacheco, I think, would have a great shot at winning.
Yeah.
Winning the MVP. So the last non-quarterback to win the MVP was Cooper Kupp for the LA Rams just 2 years ago. Before him is Julian Edelman for the Patriots.
Yeah.
And the last defensive guy to win it was Von Miller for Denver Broncos.
When they played
Super
Carolina.
Bowl 50. Yep.
Yeah, they played Carolina there. The strip sack.
Yep.
The strip fumble. Yeah, so there you go.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so I'd say, well, we'll get more into our keys for the game later on, but I think Pacheco would have a good shot as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good one. Yeah, I want to think that. Yeah, because he could really win it, but with all his running that he'll be doing.
Yeah, and hopefully he'll be doing a lot of it, right?
Yeah.
All right, so who would a win in the Super Bowl mean more for anyone on either team? Who do you think it? Or if you want, you can give me one for each team. But
okay, well, I think
who would a win mean the most for?
Well, I think Patrick Mahomes is his career is pretty cemented as first ballot Hall of Famer, and everything's done. And like you just said, he's 83 yards away from being all-time passer in the Kansas City. So he will one day be in the Ring of Honor in Arrowhead Stadium. But who I think what this would mean more for would be Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. I mean, this would mean so much more to them. I think Andy Reid's at that point where he's kind of like cemented as one of the best coaches to ever coach NFL football. And so, I think this would mean more for those guys over on the other side. Just kind of like, I think it's going to get real loud over there in San Francisco if they end up losing this. Not that Kyle Shanahan would lose his job, because who would you replace him with? I mean, the guy's great, but still have a hate for him because his dad was a Denver Broncos head coach forever.
That's
right. But I think it would mean more for them, and maybe more people would give Brock Purdy a little more respect than what he's getting sometimes on the media. Not that I'm saying he's a great player. I don't think he's a great player, but I don't think he's a decent player.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Yeah. So there you go.
We'll get more into the 49ers offense here in a second, but I don't disagree with that. I think who it means the most for is Kyle Shanahan. Yeah. I think hands down across both teams, he's the guy a win would mean the most for. Right. As far as the Chiefs go, I'd actually say Andy Reid, because Andy Reid in his career up to the Chiefs has always been told, well, you can't win a Super Bowl. You can't win a Super Bowl. Right. You can do good all year long, even get to the Super Bowl with the Eagles. Right. But he couldn't, get the win in the Super Bowl. Then he finally gets it. Now he has 2 of them with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And yet, many times there's kind of an asterisk by his name, it seems like, where they say Andy Reid is one of the best coaches of all time, but he couldn't do without Patrick Mahomes. Right. Right. And then other people will also make the argument that Patrick Mahomes isn't a great quarterback without Andy Reid. Yeah. Which those people don't watch football, obviously. He'd be a great football player no matter what team he was on, just with his talent. But a lot of people do make that argument for Andy Reid and just say, man, that guy, great coach, Hall of Fame coach even, but man, he's just a tier below everybody else without Patrick Mahomes. And I think another win for Andy Reid would kind of cement that for him as well. I still think he'll get in the Hall of Fame either way, but in the eyes of the fans and the viewers, I think that Andy Reid is not cemented in people's minds as a great coach. And I think another one would do that for it.
I know. I feel like, like when people make that argument, as silly it is. I mean, you could say that about Jimmy Johnson. He was nothing without Troy Aikman. Bill Walsh. He was nothing without Montana. Bill Belichick, right? Who we'd all, maybe not all of us, I know you would not say that is the greatest coach to ever coach the game, but he was nothing without Tom Brady. So,
Yeah,
I mean, you can make that
it's
argument
true.
with a lot of coaches. And so, I mean, the way, I think for me, Andy Reid, the way he elevates quarterback play is just so impressive to me. Donovan McNabb, Mike Vick.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Alex
No,
Smith, I mean, just like those. I mean, those guys aren't bad, but they're not like what he turned them. I think turned them into. And so I mean, I know we have the appreciation for Andy Reid. I wish everyone else would see the appreciation for Andy Reid on what he's done in his coaching career.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So don't disagree with you at all on any of those things. So
Yeah.
all great points. So hopefully Andy Reid will get himself another win. As much as I know the win would help Kyle Shanahan the most, I'm still hoping he doesn't
Oh,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, definitely. No. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and hopefully Andy doesn't retire if he does get it. So that'd be
Yeah.
but that's
Well,
future.
that's right. We'll talk about that after the Super Bowl. So if
Okay.
you want to know our opinions on Andy Reid's retirement, join us after the Super Bowl and we'll share all those thoughts with you. So, but as far as the Super Bowl goes, the team had a lot of their practices the previous week. So last week, the week right after the conference championship games for both teams. Then they kind of take a few days off. Then they fly out to Las Vegas where the Super Bowl's at. And they'll have a few practices here and there, but a lot of it's just walk through. They're saving their bodies for the most part for the game. And they'll have a lot of interviews, a lot of media responsibilities that they have to go through. And so it is a big show between everything that they have to do with all the responsibilities that they have. And then they're going to have people from their family to their friends to people that knew them in second grade trying to reach out to them and say, hey, give me a ticket to this game. And so there's a lot of distractions for this game. That's what a lot of players talk about is how many distractions there are. And so we were talking about this earlier, but the Chiefs and the 49ers played in Super Bowl 54, just 5 years ago. And so the amount of players that were on the 49ers team who are still on that team is 12 players. So out of 53, not very many returning. But that being said, those 12 players, do you think those guys are going to be playing with a little bit more juice knowing that the Chiefs were the ones that knocked them out last time, even if they weren't on the team at that point?
Right. Yeah. I think there's definitely there's probably a little juice that we played in that. I mean, just the fact that, they probably remember that feeling. They probably still think about that day where they lost the Super Bowl. And if I'm not mistaken, they were up by 10 points going in the fourth quarter. And if I'm not mistaken, some of those players that were on that team were taking pictures as if they had just won the Super Bowl, and Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and their magic and Damian Williams brought them back and crushed their spirit. So
that's right.
So definitely I think with the Kittles, the Bosas, they definitely remember that and they definitely want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep, absolutely. So they're going to be thinking on that. And those guys who were there, they're going to be sharing those experiences with those around them as well.
Yeah.
But I do think it does bode well for the Chiefs that they have so many guys returning from even last year's Super Bowl winning team that are on the team again this year. I believe it was 36 guys who were on the team last year who are still on the team this year with Super Bowl experience. And so a lot more guys to draw from as far as playoff and Super Bowl experience goes. So that is going to be good. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think even more so, what I think gives more juice is to the Kansas City Chiefs because even though they have, I mean, you just said it, 36 guys. I mean, that's unbelievable for 36 guys to come back that played in the Super Bowl last year are playing again in the Super Bowl, and they're still doubted, right? And so I think that's even a bigger thing. So not only are they a more experienced team, but they've been doubted all these whole playoffs. One, it was, they've never played on the road. Oh yeah, sure. They beat up on Miami and Buffalo. Oh, well, the refs took out of the game, whatever it is, all these people are making excuses. So I think that's even bigger than losing the Super Bowl. Is they don't even think you should be here. And so hopefully the Kansas City coaching staff and Pat and Travis are just saying, hell, they don't even think we should be playing this game. It should be the Baltimore. And so, I mean, I think that's even bigger than losing the Super Bowl.
Well, and it's big for any opposing team going against the Chiefs too, because when you give Patrick Mahomes any kind of motivation, I hate to be the one to tell you, but it doesn't usually end well for the other
No,
team.
it does not.
You do not want to count him down as an underdog in any way, and especially let him know about it. This week, there's been some controversy already coming out from the ownership group and
Yeah.
front office people there. I forget the guy's name, a guy for the 49ers. And they basically said, hey, what do you remember about, the previous game? And he just went on his hands like, oh, I remember there was a hold. Like that,
Oh,
his first response was, there was a hold and, it's referring to the previous Super Bowl when the Chiefs were down and they called the wasp play to Tyreek
oh
Hill,
yeah.
right? And so a lot
Yeah.
of people misunderstood that play and they
Yeah.
thought there was a hold by the Chiefs. And you can go back and look towards the players who have actually played the game
Yeah.
and the players who have gone through the former NFL referees, and they've
Yeah.
have well talked about this play, so we're not going to dive into it again. But
Yeah.
it was not a hold by any means, and so there's still some who falsely believe that narrative. But there was not a hold there, and so this guy is kind of pushing that out there again. And then they
Yeah.
asked Nick Bosa as well. He said, "Hey, what do you know about this team?" And they said, "Well, they like to hold a lot."
Oh
Like
man. So they're
like
creating they're already telling the refs they're holders,
they are
you know.
already
Yeah.
creating a narrative and already going to be talking to those refs, say, "Hey, watch these guys; they're going to try to hold us."
So yeah.
From the beginning. So,
Yeah.
I mean, how do you think that goes for the Chiefs when they hear them talking about hold, especially as an offensive lineman going
Yeah.
against an elite defensive line with Nick Bosa
Yeah.
and Chase Young, who they just
Chase
got
Young.
from
Yeah.
the Commanders, former Redskins, right? So, if you're the offensive line going against this elite defensive line for the 49ers, how do you take that when you hear those things?
Yeah, I think it was going to take what they did last year, where they gave up 0 sacks when the Eagles came in and they had a tough defensive line and there was 0 sacks. So I think
Yeah.
we've talked on this play. I think you can call holding on every play, but get over. You just got to overcome whatever it is. I mean, the Chiefs are going to be they're going to be held. We see egregious holding calls all the time on the field not called. It's
Yeah.
just kind of like part of the game. You just got to overcome. You can't let that. And if you're making excuses like that already, you've already lost.
Yeah.
So
Well, to your point, there's
yeah,
calls missed on both teams every single
yeah,
play.
every
And
single
the
play.
previous game against the Ravens, right?
Yeah,
When the Ravens were backed up in their own end zone, Chris Jones was literally tripped with the guy sticking his
yeah, yeah,
leg
yeah,
out
yeah.
in the end zone, which a penalty in the end zone results in a safety, but
Right.
nothing was called.
No, that was called.
And
Just let them play.
the Chiefs have said nothing about that because they're like, hey,
No.
that's just it is what it
Yeah,
is. Right. So yeah.
yeah,
So talking about injuries though, with our offensive line, so Joe Thuney, man, he has that pectoral injury.
yeah, yeah,
They have him listed as questionable for the game, but he did not practice all week
yeah.
last week.
Whew.
So that's not looking well for him. Uh,
No.
and Allegretti feeling great in the
Oh yeah,
championship game for him at that left guard spot. But
yeah,
this is another big challenge for them coming in, and they
yeah,
might be trying to attack him right at that spot too. So,
yeah, yeah.
so Willie Gay had a neck injury. He was limited in practice the first day, but had a full practice the rest of the week last week.
Oh yeah,
Does not have an injury designation for this game, so that is great news. The other player we got to talk about is Charles Omenihu, right? The
man.
former 49ers player, the guy who the 49ers refused to pay and released him, said, we don't need you, get out of here.
Yeah,
Not in those words, but those are my words. Charles Omenihu comes to the Chiefs, signs with the Chiefs, and now has the chance to play against his former team in the Super Bowl. And in the conference championship game, the game right before the Super Bowl, tears his ACL. I mean,
man.
what a bad break for that guy. I mean, I feel so bad for that guy.
Yeah,
Man, working hard all year long to get here, and finally team gets here and he's not going to be able to play in it. I know he's still with the team, going to be celebrating with them and working with them throughout this week, but that is tough for him.
yeah. He was a big part of our defense this year. I mean, I know he missed the first 6 games, but he came on strong and made a lot of pressures. Even had a strip sack against Lamar Jackson, and so definitely going to miss his presence on the floor there or on the field there on Sunday at evening.
Yeah. And so just speaking of this year, so this year in his brief games that he was even with us.
Yeah.
So he played in 11 games. In 11 games, he had 7 sacks. So in that short amount of time, that is a good number if you don't know. So
Yeah.
7 sacks is great for 11 games. And now he's going to be out. And so who is going to be the person that's going to have to fill that void?
Yeah, number 51, baby.
Mike Dana again, your guy.
Mike Dana, Mike Dana, man. He's got to fly around, make some plays. I think George Karlaftis will make some plays. I mean, I know him and Chris Jones right now are tied at sacks, and so they're just it's gonna be the team game for sure. Losing a Minihu, and so they're just all gonna have to come together and play that team defense, and so.
Yeah, we might even see that rookie Felix from K-State
nice.
see the
Yeah,
field.
that'd be nice.
He saw the field a little bit while Minihu was out. So maybe he'll get a few more reps in the Super Bowl too. So we'll see what happens. So 49ers offense, I mean, they got so many weapons on that offensive side.
So many weapons.
They got Deebo Samuel. So they got a Pro Bowl tight end, a 1,000-yard tight end in George Kittle. They have a 1,000-yard receiver in Brandon Ayuk. They have a 1,000-yard rusher in Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And they also have Deebo Samuel, who is worthy of a 1,000-yard season, even if he hasn't had it yet and can play anywhere on the field. And that's just a few of their guys. And they have maybe the best left tackle in the league in Trent Williams. Man, they got some studs on defense, and their linebacker of Fred Warner. Man, and Nick Bosa and Chase Young, and I mean they're loaded. So what do the Chiefs do on defense specifically to slow down? What can they do to slow down this 49ers offense and their attack?
Well, I think definitely it's confusing the quarterback. So the quarterback's young. I think that's the bonus. And so I think it's confusing him and what coverages are being played. And then kind of like hearing like the talk and what the defense did against Lamar was just pretty impressive, and how they stopped him and how they just cut things off, and they just wouldn't give him looks. And so they would just cut a whole entire field off and make him focus what they wanted him to focus on. And so I think doing some of that stuff would be real helpful again, and then slowing down. And then I think our aggressive corner play, McDuffie and Snead, not being scared of Ayuk or Deebo, and just really jamming them. And then our defensive line has to play well. They have to. It's like McCaffrey's kind of like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. You're not going to stop them, but you hope to contain them, to help them to have like a limited game. And so you can't have 200 yards off scrimmage, right? You can't do that because we'll get smoked. And so.
Like Jordan's capable of throwing down 40, 50, 60 points a game, but if you could have held him to 25 points, you'd consider that a win.
Yeah, definitely. And so, I mean, like the question I keep going back and forth is, who am I more scared of, the 49ers offense or the 49ers defense?
Oh, good question. So which are you?
Well, I'm asking you, who are you more for? Like, who gives you more? Who keeps you up at night? Is it not that you're staying awake at night thinking about the 49ers, but if you were
up at night at all.
Yeah.
I would say their offense, because there's so many weapons. Because I think as good as their defense is, we've talked about this before, Patrick Mahomes can make the number 1 defense look like the number 20 defense.
Yeah,
right?
Very quickly.
And so yes, and I think their offensive line is starting to play their best football of the year. Man, they've struggled earlier in the year, such a tackle position, but in the playoffs, they have looked phenomenal. I mean, they've looked great. Travis Kelce is playing his best football of the year again right now. MVS playing his best football of the year right now. Rashee Rice is hitting his stride right now. Pacheco still playing his best football. McKinnon might be coming back, maybe with some fresh legs after sitting out with some injuries. So I think the Chiefs have the offense to go against the 49ers defense. And I'm not saying they're not a great defense, because they are. But because of all the weapons on offense, usually if they have 2 great skill guys, you can try to double cover and say, hey, beat us with somebody else. Well, the 49ers do have somebody else they can beat you with. Right. If you cover 2 guys, there's 2 or 3 more guys who are just as dynamic who can beat you. So I'd be more worried about the 49ers offense personally.
And I think like seeing we look at the playoff games, like why the Chiefs fans and the media have so much confidence in the Kansas City Chiefs is because I think Mahomes through this playoff run has played 12 great quarters, right? Taking care of the ball, moving the ball, like taking the risk when he needs to take risks. I can't say the same for the 49ers offense. I mean, I think Brock Purdy has played maybe 2 of the 8 quarters that he's played this year. I've been pretty good, right? And so I think and then even seeing like the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions move the ball on this defense at times with ease. And so I think, but we all know this is Super Bowl. We've had a week off. Everyone's been game planning, and so I think it all can change.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how good is Brock Purdy himself? Where you don't have to give me the exact ranking of him, but where is he when compared to other NFL quarterbacks?
16.
16. I mean, you have the exact ranking.
So 16.
So right in the middle.
Right in the middle. I mean, I think he's probably he probably doesn't get enough credit for how good he has been. But I also think he is living off of the system. I know all quarterbacks are system quarterbacks, but Kyle Shanahan's one of the brightest coaches in the NFL. I can say that confidently. And then I think like the weapons that he has. So yes, he is doing what he's supposed to do. He's having a great year. But I think if you just take him alone, just by himself as the person, right? I mean, I don't think if you put him on the Carolina Panthers, I mean, he's going to look worse than Bryce Young, right? You put him on the Falcons. So. I mean, like, there's a lot of players, but they just couldn't get it right. So I think, he's going to be. He reminds me of a poor man's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
So that would be or a poor man's Derek Carr, right? And so he's not, right around there where he can do things, but it may not be consistent to do them. And I saw Brock Purdy. We live in the Midwest, and so. We live in Big 12 country, and so I've seen Brock Purdy play at Iowa State and make some of the most boneheaded plays known to man on the football field. So, and living up here in Northwest Missouri, there's a lot of Iowa State fans, and so it's always fun to poke fun at Brock Purdy. But man, he's in the NFL. He's doing it. Give him credit. Yep. But yeah, I think he's right there in the middle of the pack with quarterbacks.
All right, so he was the last pick in the NFL draft last year. So the title Mr. Irrelevant is given to him. And now he's starting in a Super Bowl for his team. So, I mean, props to him for making a team and not only making a team, but becoming the starting quarterback as well.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why.
I don't know what your camera's doing, but that was hilarious. Made me laugh.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I would say he's just about average like you. I don't have an exact ranking for him by any means, but I mean, you had the 16 ready to go there. That's quick, but I think he's a great system quarterback, though. I think that when things are going according to plan, he is perfect and exactly what Kyle Shanahan needs him to be. But as we've watched this year, when things get off script and he has to kind of improvise or things aren't going according to plan, he makes a lot of poor choices. And so I think the Chiefs got to force him into that. So, but let's move to the 49ers defense real quick. So that pass rush, I think, in my opinion, is the best part of that 49ers defense, that whole defensive line. So what say you?
Yeah, I think that pass rush is probably the best one of the best in the business. But I think there's ways, and we'll talk about keys of the game, but there's ways to slow that pass rush down to play action, running the ball, right? And so there's all different things. But I think they're probably weakest at the corner and safety, and so that helps. That plays into Mahomes with Travis Kelce and Rashid Rice, and so and MVS and all those other wide receivers, they'll be coming out, and Pat will be throwing the ball. So we know one of the corners fairly well, and he's had a great year. Charvarius Ward was a former Kansas City Chief, and so I'm sure he'll be playing with a little more juice, if you will, former team. So
that's right.
But yeah, so I think we know what Charvarius Ward is, so we got the book on him.
Hey, I'll tell you, he was good when he left, but man, I'll take the corners we have over him. And no shade throwing at him. It's just we have some great corners right now. So all right, keys of the game, Dale. What did the Chiefs have to do to win this game?
Yeah, I think we kind of been hinting at it all podcast here is we got to slow down that pass rush. And so I think the way we do that is a lot of Pacheco. And then I think we saw a lot of it against the Baltimore game. So I think it's going to be a lot of the same stuff. Just getting the ball out quick I think Mahomes did a great job of getting the ball out quick, and I think that just really frustrates Bosa, really frustrates Young,
Yep.
and just really frustrates them because here they are gearing up for a pass, and all of a sudden 1,000 and it's out. It's like,
Yeah.
man, and that helps the offensive line as well. So I think those are
Yep.
the keys of the
Absolutely.
game. So
Yeah. I'd add a few more, and
yeah,
kind of you hinted out too, but I think the Chiefs have to establish the run in this game.
yeah, oh yeah,
If they are going to try to rely only on passing, I'm not saying they can't win that way, but
yeah,
it is going to be much, much harder and much more difficult of a game
right,
if all they're able to do is pass and they're not able to run. So if they can establish the run with Isaiah Pacheco, that's going to be great. The other thing, they got to slow down Christian McCaffrey and the
yeah,
rush attack,
yeah,
because that guy
yeah,
will run all over you, force them to put in Brock Purdy's hands. And as we kind of talked about before, then pressure Brock Purdy,
yeah,
get him off his spot, get him off his game plan.
yeah,
And last thing, limit the big plays, right? So
yeah,
make Brock Purdy beat you 4 or 5 times, 10 times down the field instead of just
right,
beating you one time. So
right.
force him to beat you over and over and over again.
Yeah, I really
So
think it's like it's the Baltimore game plan, right? That's exactly what they tried to do against Baltimore, and they were pretty successful at it. And so we'll see. Hopefully Kyle Shanahan abandons a run as quick as Baltimore
man,
did.
that'd be fantastic. I'd take that every day. Every day.
So I think it's establishing that lead and getting going. And so I think what gives me a lot of confidence is the fact that we are seeing Green Bay and Detroit kind of move the ball in the first couple drives at ease. And so I think scripted plays are always great, but we also need to score in the second half. For the love of God, please let us score in the second half.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
all right, score prediction. So I have for this game,
Okay.
I think the spread right now is like 2.5, something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm going to go with a little bit more, though. I think the Chiefs are going to get up to 28 points.
Woo!
So they're going to put up 28 points, and I think they're going to hold the 49ers to 20. So I have a score of 28-20 Chiefs.
Okay. Well, I think we have never been right on the score on both sides. Maybe like one on one, but so I'm
This
going.
is the time to do it.
This is the time to do it. So I'm going 17-10 Chiefs.
All right, low scoring game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, still that one possession game, but I think the Chiefs defense has been the story all year, and they'll be the story in the Super Bowl. And so you might be right with that. That Lombardi might, or that Super Bowl MVP might be a defensive player.
It could be. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe Chris Jones will get that and get himself another bonus. So
There you go.
we'll
Man,
see.
that would be something. That'd be
It would
something.
be. We'll see what happens with all that. So, man, lots to look forward to. We are looking forward to watching the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Hopefully, be able to get their 3rd Super Bowl in 5 years, and maybe they'll have a dynasty at that point. So we'll see.
I think we're there.
We might be. So we're gonna have another episode right before the Super Bowl, with some just fun facts and gimmicks, and just a fun episode. You're gonna want to check us back out for that too.
Yeah.
So make sure you're following us and like and subscribe and leave us a great review so you can see all the upcoming episodes as well, and our last one for this week before the Super Bowl. And as a reminder, we still got us a giveaway for the Trent Green signed jersey. So find us online at online. Our website is kkpodcast.com. You can find us on X at Kingdom_Korner with a K, Kingdom_Korner on Twitter. So find us there, and you'll find that giveaway as well. So thanks for joining us this episode of the Kingdom Corner. We'll see you next time right here in the Kingdom Corner.